All right, we're back here with another episode of Keeping Up with Spring Garden Athletics, again with head boys coach, Coach Hatch. And Coach, we're finally at that moment now. We're one win away from moving on to Jacksonville, which had to be one of your goals this year. I'm sure you had several goals that you have reached and are still currently working on, but this is a big one coming up against Winterboro, and you guys are able to host that. Let's start right there. Being able to host such a big game, talk about that. Let's start there. Right there.
Oh, it's huge. For a couple of reasons. One, normally our fans travel well anyway, so in terms of having fans, if we were on the road, we'd have a good turnout. But it's always good to be in your home gym on goals you're used to shooting with. You're going to have a packed house. It's going to be loud, create a hostile environment for the other team. And, your role players typically play better at home. So, our guys have answered the call every game that we've had so far this year. But they typically play better here just because it's a sense of comfort to them.
Yes, home. I mean, it's home, like legit home. As many hours as y'all spend here, they probably have a bed in here somewhere.
Yes, sir.
But what have you seen from this Winterboro team? I know you probably broke down film and watched them. I got to see them a couple of times in person. What stepped out to you about them that kind of jumped off the page, so to speak?
They're an athletic team who likes to push the pace. They want to play the full court and let their press kind of gamble on their press a little bit, try to create some easy points. And so we spent the past few days talking about their style of play, what they want to do to the opposing teams, and how we want to kind of counteract that. So we told the guys, look, it's not any more pressure than we've seen. We've had some games where we've had some really athletic teams come in and present challenges, if you will. And so those games are the reason why you schedule them during the season, because you learn from it and you let those experiences carry over to the postseason. And so we worked on how to handle their press, kind of game plan for their offensive schemes, and saw their defensive schemes. And so we've kind of tried to game plan toward that to swing things in our advantage a little bit.
Coach, I know you stress one game at a time, but how do you really make your guys, especially your seniors, realize, hey guys, this is not easy to get to this point in the season. It's also not easy to win at this point in the season. Enjoy the moment.
Well, you play off past experiences. We sat down last year and had Oakwood come in, and we had a good game plan against them, I thought, and we executed the game plan. We just had a few shots not go down, or else it would have been a different outcome, hopefully. And so I told them, if you don't feel like this next year, remember the moment, do something about it. And so the guys have kind of taken that to heart throughout the year. They've really worked on some of the weaknesses that we had last year. Really stuck together, and I believe that, you look at the area tournament, we came into it very focused. Even though we had success against JCA and Galesville throughout the season, you can throw all that out the window when it gets to the postseason. None of that matters, especially in a guys' game. And so they came in laser focused for the first thing because they knew it was a win or go home. They came in laser focused for the Galesville game because they knew it was the difference between traveling or hosting. And so now I expect them to come in focused, knowing that just go home or move on to JSU. So their minds have been in the right place in our practices, and so I'm excited to see what we can do.
You mentioned that Oakwood game. I mean, they went on to go to the state championship and took it down to the wire. So you got beat by a very good team that night, so it's nothing to hold your head down, and I'm sure your guys know that as well. That shows you how close you guys are as a program as well to being there. But no, you're moving forward, like right here, you guys have had a phenomenal season, and obviously this is the point of the season you want to be to. But as a head coach, what is your mindset, your approach personally? I don't know if you tighten up or do you stay the same. Some coaches are always different than that. When you get in these situations, where do you overthink things? Do you make sure every T's crossed, every I's dotted, stuff like that? Or how is your approach?
Well, most of the times my approach is the few days leading up to your game that's has importance like this one is I usually spend a day, a night, really sit down and talk to the coaches, get a good game plan set up, which is what we did this time. And then our practices, we don't throw too much to the guys. We don't overload them. We'll focus on one aspect. So on Wednesday, I think Winterboro and then played on Tuesday. So on Wednesday, we came in and focused on what Winterboro did on offense and how we wanted our defensive schemes to be. And so we really drilled that home. And then we came in yesterday and we worked on their pressing schemes, what we want to do on offense and things like that. So my opinion is if you really prepare the way that you should prepare those days leading up to the game, then when you get on game day, it's all right, it's time to play. And so I say all that, and I was up at 2:30 this morning. So, you know, on and off
like
sleeping,
a true coach.
on and off sleeping, and then finally at 4:30 I just got up because I'm ready to get after it. You know, I believe the guys are ready to play, and I believe, like I said, we're locked in. We put a game plan in, and the guys have been doing what we've asked them to do in practice. So
let's touch on that a minute. Something you just said. Work-life balance during the season is totally different than work-life balance in the off season. Correct?
Correct.
Talk about the difference between the two from a head coaching standpoint.
Well, luckily here at Spring Garden, my teaching position allows me a little bit more freedom in terms of my schedule. So I make sure that the kids I'm responsible for, that they're called up, that they're getting the attention and need that they need in class. But I do have a couple breaks throughout the day where I can sit down and break down film and things like that, which has been huge because I don't have to take it all home with me like I've done in the past. But when you get to the postseason, your focus really narrows down, and you spend a little bit of extra time taking care of all the preparatory work and things like that. And then when we get to the off season, you spread it out over. I open gyms up usually twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week, and bring kids in. But once we finish that, I don't think too much about it until it gets closer for the summer. Now, I'll always look for different little nuggets to glean, whether it's from other coaches talking to them, or videos, or whatever the case is. And if I'm watching a basketball game on TV, I'm always trying to pull, hey, I like that scheme, or I like that play, or something. So I'm always watching.
So to speak.
Yes, but I'm not. I take enough time away from the family when the season's in play that when it's off season, I try to pay it back in a way.
Yeah, you have to do both, because if you don't, you're burning your candles at both ends. And I've seen guys set the woods on fire and then flame out, in a couple of years because they get burnt out on it. That's good. I like the way you explain that, and I like how you do that. Even though you may be at home chilling out watching a game, you're actually working too. You're picking up on tidbits and things. That's awesome. Coach, just some final thoughts wrapping up on this particular game coming up. By the time this video comes out, the game will have already been played. So let's pretend we fast forward. What are some of the things that you guys have to do as a team to get over this hump and get over to Jacksonville?
One thing is we got to handle the pressure, value each possession. They are, like I said, an athletic team who can kind of get on a roll a little bit with some momentum. And so I think if we are able to take care of the ball, control the ball, and control our possessions and not allow them to speed us up, we get the shots that we want, then I think that, one, we can control the pace of the game. Two, on the defensive end, we usually are pretty locked in, have really good defensive schemes, and the guys execute. But with a team as athletic as Winterboro is, they attack the glass pretty hard on the offensive rebound side. So limit second chance opportunities. And third is just play within ourselves on the offensive side. Like I said, they want to play fast, and we can play fast, but, if we don't have an opportunity when we're playing fast, we got to be smart enough to not force something and bring it back out, and then we work to our pace.
We talked about that off the camera a little bit, and I know exactly where you're going with that one.
Yes, sir.
100%. Coach, appreciate you sitting in with us. Good luck to you guys. And obviously, you guys win again. By God's grace, we'll be back here next week, and we'll keep this thing rolling all the way through. Thank you.
All right, welcome back into Keeping Up with Spring Garden Athletics. And at this time, we have 2 juniors in here, Noah Barber and Jacob Welch. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Jacob, I'm going to go ahead and start with the hair. I got to start with the hair, man. Do you rate your hair? Do you have good hair days, good bad hair days?
All the time.
I always brag on your hair, and I ask these other guys on the team to compare themselves to your hair, so yours is the standard. Take us through the hair. When you get it in the morning, when you wake up and get out of the shower, what do you do, or does it come out like that?
When it gets wet, it just curls up.
Seriously?
Yep.
When it's in the shower, it lays down now.
Oh, yes, sir.
I got to see this. Dude, this is legit, though. His hair is legit. All right, let's talk a little basketball, if you guys don't mind. So you guys are on the eve of playing a sub-regional game here with Winterboro. By the time this video comes out, the game will have already been played. But let's talk about your mindset going into the game. You're playing Winterboro. They're very athletic. They get up and down the court. They're going to be a tough opponent, but nothing you haven't seen all year. Talk about you guys' mindset as a team heading into this game.
Well, we have to play at our own pace. Like, if we play fast, we're going to get out of control. So we have to play at our own pace. If we don't do that, it won't be a good game for us.
Absolutely. Same question for you, Noah.
Yes, sir. Just main game plan is to win and just make sure they don't get a bunch of offensive rebounds. They get a lot of their points off second chance opportunities, and just make sure we play at our own pace, like he said, because they're a pretty quick team.
Noah, Coach spoke highly of your play as of late, and it's the best time to get hot is right here at tourney time when they need you, teammates need you. What sparked your really good play here lately?
Just opportunities. I mean, they're going to try to stop John and Jacob because, I mean, they're our main scorers. They're big, they're bigger than most guys that we play against. So a lot of teams try to stop them, and once they get, most of the time there's 3 or 4 guys on them inside the paint, they can kick it out of me, and anybody really, we can just knock down some shots. So,
Just making the most of your opportunity, obviously.
yes, sir.
Talk about Coach Hatch. I want both of you guys to answer this question right here. Since he's come in here, man, he didn't have to reinvent the wheel from you guys. You guys already worked hard in the weight room. You were already coachable. You already had high basketball IQs. But what are some of the intangibles he's brought to this program?
Well, I mean, I've never really had Coach Ray as a coach because my 9th grade year I just played JV. So really, all throughout my high school career, Coach Hatch has been my coach. So I mean, he brings a lot. I mean, he's smart. He played college basketball, so I think that's a big thing that he brings. He knows a lot about the game, and he just gives us opportunities to make plays.
In my opinion, nothing's really changed. Same standard, high, everything.
Yeah, he does a good job of maintaining what you guys have and just sprinkle his flavor onto it.
Yes, sir.
Jake, right back with you. You get a lot of attention now from the other teams. I've watched you play several times this year, and you're getting doubled constantly. You got people trying to face guard you, block the inbounds. How has your game changed from last year to this year because the attention you're gaining?
This year, I have to get more rebounds, in my opinion, defensive and offensive. But nothing's really changed, in my opinion.
You seem like a more polished post player now. Did you work on that in the offseason,
Yes,
like
sir.
your post moves and stuff?
I play AAU.
Gotcha. That definitely helps. You're also a very physical football player, which also helps what I call bleed into basketball with the physicality.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that a little bit and how that physicality from football has helped you.
Well, I kind of have to lay back because most of the time people's gonna be taking charges. So I just come in there and just
Like a bull in a china shop.
yes, sir.
You got to have a little finesse too,
Yes, sir.
obviously. I'm gonna pass it back to Noah. I got him. Well, let's ask Noah this question. Which one of these 2 guys is a bigger ladies' man? Is it his brother or is it Jake? Is it John or Jake?
I would say Jacob. John's more laid back. He might see how it goes. I don't know. He just kind of maybe lets them come to them. Jacob might goes and takes the opportunity. I feel like. So I'll say Jake.
Finding out a little something today.
Yes, sir.
Which one of them is a bigger prankster?
Bigger prankster?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say both. They both like to play around, have a good time.
About equal in that department?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
got you.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to ask you who has the better hair because we already know who that
Yeah,
is.
Jake.
He's got the best in the county, but who's the sharper dressed of the 2?
Sharper dressed. They kind of have the same style, I'd say. Jacob wears, I don't know. I couldn't say. They're both about the same style
Not the
to me.
same. I got you.
Yes, sir.
All right, pass it back to Jake. I'm going to ask him a couple. Talk to me about Noah a little bit. What does Noah bring to the team from an individual standpoint? Obviously it's a team sport, but he does some good things individually. What sticks out to you about his play?
Shooting, and he's a good role player. He's a really good 6-man.
Yeah.
If we need some 3-pointers, he comes off the bench really well and shoots them.
I've noticed he gets the ball up and y'all get pressed and stuff too.
Yes, sir.
He does really good at that as well. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
absolutely. Outside of you 2, I want each one of you guys to answer this. Who is some of the guys that you got to have down this stretch that's not in this room? Some of your teammates that y'all got to lean on in these next couple of weeks to ultimately reach your goals?
In my opinion, everybody. But the name some is Henry, Chappell, John, Connor, Cole, pretty much. Cole.
Guys with some experience too.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Our whole starting 5 is juniors and seniors, so the ones coming off the bench that play JV is going to get some experience so they can be in our same shoes
Absolutely.
when they get up there.
No doubt. Same question for you, just from your standpoint.
Yes, sir. Y'all talked to a lot of people, but the 2 guys coming off the bench, I'm one of them, and then Caden and Henry, they're both important to this team. Caden's a good rebounder. He comes in, played good against Collinsville, so he can play against some good teams and do a good job. And Henry, he knocked down like 3 straight threes, or was it 4 straight threes?
3
In the county tournament. He had like 14 points against Galesville to stretch out the lead right there. So I feel like about all the
the
bench
game wide
guys.
open right there.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to ask you this. We'll play devil's advocate a little bit here. If we had a time machine like in Back to the Future and we fast forward in time and you guys were to win this game and go over into Jacksonville, what are some of the things that's got to happen as a team? Like some of the things we've got to do this or we're not going to win?
Knock down shots and don't let them get into offensive rebounds.
Same question for you, Jake.
Like you said, knock down shots, a lot of rebounds. We need the rebounds. If we don't get rebounds, you can't. Obviously, you can't really get on offense if you can't get a defensive rebound.
Obviously, yeah. You want to lose the game. I mean, the old cliche is offense wins crowds, defense wins games, rebounds wins championships. I think that's true. I don't know if you guys agree with that. That's another possession for you each and every time. Let's close this thing out. What's it been like since you've been a Spring Garden? You guys both grew up here, correct? What's it been like growing up in such a great program in all sports like you guys have here at Spring Garden?
It's pretty good. I'm proud, thanking God that I'm here.
Yeah, you got family that's come through here, brothers and sisters that come through here.
Yes, sir.
You got a deep-rooted history here yourself, brother.
Yes, sir.
Same question for you.
Yes, sir. I think it's great. We don't. A lot of people don't realize the kind of like environment that we have here. And so when I was younger, I didn't go to school here, but it's way different here. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody loves everybody. It's a great environment.
I tell everybody there's 2 schools in North Alabama that we cover that is absolute family through and through. And it's like in every sport, but you can really feel it when you go out there. It's you guys and Fife. It's the 2 that y'all are real similar fan bases. Y'all are real similar in a lot of ways. But when you hear people throughout the state, because we cover pretty much the whole state, whether it be Mobile, wherever, they know you guys and they know you guys are good at sports. What does that make you feel like being a part of that, knowing that people 6, 7A, I mean, people all over the state know who you guys are and what you're about?
It's great, especially being at a small school, knowing that those bigger schools know what we're doing. And it's great to see your work being noticed.
100%. I agree with you.
Yes, sir. Like you said, it's very great.
It's very good. Guys, I appreciate you sitting in. You guys got to get to practice. I know talking to me is cool and all, but I know getting to practice means a lot more than sitting up here talking to Bo Starkey. I appreciate you guys. Looking forward to watching, keep covering you guys. You guys keep winning. We're going to keep doing this every week. Thank you, guys. All right, we are back here with another edition of Keeping Up with Spring Garden Athletics, and at this time, we have in the gangster herself, Maggie Jarrett of Spring Garden basketball, volleyball, softball. Is there any other sports you play?
Just those
Okay,
3.
all right, so that's enough. I mean, all right. With that being said, you're a big part of all of these teams, and all of these teams that you're on has been in the state championship game or in contention for it. All 3 of these teams have. What's it like being a Spring Garden Panther at this time?
It's really special. It's big. Your teammates are a real big part of our success and everything. Every sport's not a one-man game. You got to have your teammates. You got to have all that support from everybody else, from your teammates, your community, your coaches, anybody.
You do a good job in all your sports. I always give you a lot of praise for the way you play the game. You do the little things, like you're the catcher. That's not easy. Also, in basketball, you rebound, you defend, you break the press, you're a good passer. You do a lot of things behind the scenes that helps teams win. But I think where that gets noticed the most is in the locker room with your teammates. They respect you for that. Now, to talk about that a little bit and how they know you're going to sacrifice for them and they sacrifice for you as well.
With our teammates in the locker room, we all know everybody has our back. Like, even in practice, we may yell at each other, tell each other to pick it up, come on. But deep down, we all know we have each other's backs and want everybody to be successful.
When you won that state championship last year in basketball, take me back to that night in Birmingham when you guys got that state championship. What was that feeling like?
That was special, like real special. Being a part of that, I was a part of it in 2020. Yeah, I was a part of it in 2020. And that was big. Being a part of it, just being on there, and then coming back, playing, and contributing as much as I did, it was so much more special. And like I said, it's not a one-man game, So the whole team, it was just a good feeling.
It was incredible to watch you guys, the way you kind of just dominated on through there. I know the Skyline game was one of the games you guys had circles and you dominated that. And then when you got over into the Final Four and then the final game with Marion County, pretty much won that one going away as well. At what point during that game did you think, okay, this is happening, like this is really about to happen?
I don't know. It was pretty big. My adrenaline was going. It was
It's probably
going
going all the way
good.
through the whole game.
Oh
wasn't it?
yeah. As soon as we started, I was pumped and ready. After halftime, when we had our big lead, I was like, this is it. This right here. We're gonna be state champions. It started to hit, and it was an amazing feeling.
It was unbelievable. And then this year you go off and you beat Addison in volleyball, which was a big hurdle. You actually lost to them at regionals,
Yes.
and then got that rematch. But you took them to 5. When you guys lost, and I've asked the other girls that have been on the volleyball team this, when you took them to 5 games at regionals and lost, you had a sense in your head that you could beat them at that point, though, correct?
Yes.
And then when you faced them again, you kind of dominated. That was unbelievable. What was going through your head when you guys got up on them in the finals?
What was going through my head was losing the previous year at state to them. That feeling of just, ugh. I was like, and we lost at regionals, which after that game, we all knew, okay, we can beat them. We're going to beat them. And when we came in, everybody had each other's backs. We had such adrenaline going. We had good energy, and it just led on from there.
It was even on the sidelines. You girls were going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And then to win the way you did, going away 3-0, that had to be special. It's kind of like the second half you talked about that you guys had in basketball, where you were up on them, but you were dominating. That feeling in that moment till the end of that game had to be special for you.
Oh, it was big. It was great. Because that game was really big. It was a big hurdle, like you said, for us to get through. And it was just so big to get over that. And we were like in shock, but it was a great feeling.
And then I've asked the other girls this, then you got to turn around and you got to defend a basketball championship. I know Coach will probably tell you you're not defending nothing, it's a new year, but you are the defending champs. But how quick did it take you to flip that switch and get into basketball mode?
I knew after we won, I had to switch quick to get back to playing basketball. But deep down, I had a feeling like just waking up one morning to be like, I'm a state champion in volleyball.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, feeling, but
That's a big deal. Mm-hmm. You're multi-time state champion in different sports.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. But go ahead, talk, what was you going to say?
Yes, and it was like, and you got to switch like that. You got to like think in the back of your brain, I'm a volleyball state championship, and then coming into practice back, it'll be like, it's a new year. We need the same principles and everything to go forward.
100%. And then now it took you guys a little while to get rolling, like to your standard. You've only got 1 loss on the year, and that was to a nationally ranked team with, I don't know, 2 or 3 D1 girls on it, and you didn't have Chloe that night as well. But to be sitting here where you are right now with a sub-regional game at home and a chance to go back to Jacksonville and defend your state title, how's your mind thinking, like mindset-wise?
My mindset is play to our standard every game. We're really big on that. When Coach Rack comes in the game and we ain't playing the best team, he always says we got to play to our standard and our abilities and not play down to our opponent.
It makes sense, no
And
matter who
that's-
you're playing.
And that's really big on us because to think if we don't play to our standard, it's not getting us any better.
Absolutely. And you guys do a good job of actually doing that, because a lot of places we go to, it don't always happen like that. Next question is, you're probably, I'm just speaking for you here, I could be wrong, your more favorite sport's probably softball.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's just talking to your dad and all, which is unbelievable because you're a 2-time state champion in 2 different sports there. But what is it about softball that sticks out to you? Because you girls dominated that as well.
Well, being a catcher, you kind of have to lead.
Yes.
You and the pitcher, you have to be like one mind together.
Correct.
Back and forth. You got to lead. And I think that's what it is with volleyball, basketball, and softball. You have to be a leader on the field and off.
100%.
It's a big thing.
Next question is, with all 3 sports that you play, how in the world do you, or what does your time management look like? Do you have any free time?
I do, a little bit.
Weekends a little bit, maybe?
Sometimes when we're not having a tournament, but the time that I'm not spending on sports, probably with schoolwork, friends, and family, pretty much.
But how do you recharge your batteries? Because, a lot of times when you finally do get home, all right, say from a practice, and you've gotten home and you're beat up, you've already worked out, you've already went to practice, you've already went to school, you're probably wore out, you got to eat, then you got to do homework.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when does Maggie J have Maggie J time?
When I'm sleeping.
I love it. That's awesome. But I mean, you have to sleep a lot too, because you got to recharge your batteries.
Oh, yeah.
In the off season, do you take? Well, y'all summers are pretty full too. Though.
Yeah, during summers, in June we do, well, in June and July we do our summer workouts. In June we're doing basketball, and in July we're starting our volleyball. But on the weekends that we ain't playing a basketball tournament, I'm playing a softball tournament, which I like summer ball. It's pretty fun. Different people, more friends.
Do you get the work in? I know Rat don't let you guys work out basketball during volleyball season. He makes you take it serious. But do you get any work in, like softball wise, like during basketball season, like throw a few, pitch a few, stay loose, or catch a few?
I'll start throwing just so when I first start and I'm throwing, I'm not hurting my arm.
Right.
So I'll start warming up, throwing, do some more legs in the weight room when
That's
we're
right.
not working out as a team.
Yeah, because it's grueling on your knees and legs as a catcher.
So you gotta be strong to do that. So I try to work out a little extra, do some more.
No doubt, no doubt. I just want to, somebody like it that's, you're not just playing 3 sports, you're playing at the highest level. You're winning championships in multiple sports, which on paper is not your favorite or whatever, softball is. But what I'm saying is you got championships in the other 2, and then you're really dominant in this one. Not looking ahead, because we got to get through this basketball season, but when this softball season starts, I know you guys were so close last year, you want to try to do a 3-peat with that, obviously. What does this year's team look like?
We definitely lost a big part last year with Kaylee, Maddie, and all them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We definitely lost a big part. But I think coming into this year, if we have the same mindset as we did last year, I feel like we'll be fine. We got some good girls on the team working out. They're already doing good. They're improving, is what I've heard from some of the coaches. So that's a good thing.
I can tell you right now, the 1A, dude, there was some killer teams in 1A last year at that tournament, at the regional tournament, and obviously the state tournament that could have won 1 through 3A. I mean, it was really competitive in you guys' situation. But look, you got some work to do, and I've had you up here all day, so I'm going to let you get out of here. I appreciate you sitting in with us.
You're welcome.
One of my favorite athletes, Maggie Jarrett at Spring Garden. Thank you, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back into another edition of Keeping Up with Spring Garden Athletics, and we are here with head coach Ricky Austin at this time, who's on the eve of a sub-regional game with Wadley, who he will be hosting here in Spring Garden. Best time of the year. This is Christmas for you, ain't it?
It's most definitely exciting, and everybody's excited. The community's got a new little buzz about it. The girls have a different little sense of energy about them, and me as well.
It's Christmas come early. It's a tradition here. A lot of the football coaches that are very successful throughout the year, not in a sense of arrogance, but in a sense of just goal setting and mindset, they tell everybody, don't plan no trip at Thanksgiving. We're going to be practicing football. I'm sure you probably have that same mindset with your girls. When you get to this time of year, this is what you guys are known for. This is what your bread is buttered by, and so to speak. Talk about the girls and how you said it. You don't even have to have some big long speech with them. They just instantly in their head click the switch on and they go to this other level too.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to watch it happen, and you have to be patient because it's there all year long. But when this time rolls around, just another sense of focus, not just energy, but another sense of focus. You can tell they pay attention to detail a little bit more, but it's kind of neat, that even our community absorbs it. I have people contacting me, 2 months ago, what's the dates looking like? What's the times? I got to line my vacation days up, and all that just brings extra excitement. Good. Yeah. So it's really a fun time.
If you didn't have that, I think it would not be a successful program. Unfortunately, we cover some places where that would never even cross their mind. Yeah. They would just dream about being there one day, but where you guys kind of set your mindset. But I think setting your mindset in that, and David Goggins, and I'm not by no means saying go read David Goggins' book or anything, because if you do, just do it with a parental advisory. But he talks about, if you don't even think it, then it's never going to happen. Yeah. Talk about that, like mental edge in sports and psychology.
Yeah, I mean, I have really read into some things, and I wonder if it's just me being weird, but when I first came here and decided to take this job, The year before, I helped Tommy Lewis coach boys basketball. I was doing my student teaching at Piedmont Middle School, and our girls program here at the time, some games we didn't think they were going to score. They'd go into the fourth quarter and they have 0 points. And it's just the way things had evolved from our 87 state championship team. It had just kind of lost some focus on it. And but as soon as I took the job, I wanted to be this coach. I never thought that we wasn't going to win.
Gotcha.
I mean, even as bad as they were, I didn't think we were going to win. Now, when I think about that, I put winning in a whole. Winning's not always about, actual wins and losses.
Gotcha.
There's other things about what have you accomplished? Have you improved? Have you developed, young girls to be young women? And there's a lot more ways to win. So I've never even thought about nothing except going forward since I've been here. Coach Howard, our former football coach here, has always told me, there's a reason why there's a windshield and there's a reason why there's a rearview mirror. And you spend more time looking forward than you do backwards, and that's kind of the way it's always, been here. We've looked forward, and we've always thought we could get something accomplished.
That makes sense, and I like that analogy actually. Coach Howard has a lot of them.
He does.
He's an encyclopedia of good knowledge. There's a coach that I know and you'll respect that I'm going to ask you a question, the same thing I asked him at one time, and I'll give you his answer. I talked to Mike Chase about what you just said, about taking over a place that is sort of down in the dumps, sort of speak. I'm not saying you guys were down in the dumps, but struggling, so to speak. And I said, you've done this at multiple places and you've been successful and you've won state championships at those places where people literally said it couldn't be done. But I asked him, I said, what was your first steps in getting the program up and running where you need to be? And he said, it's little battles.
Oh, yes.
He said, you have to be in better shape than everybody. Mm-hmm. He said, you have to execute better than everybody. You have to do the little things that nobody else does, but you got to do them tenfold because you have to win those battles, or you're not going to win anybody.
Absolutely.
But in your mind,
yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, we had our first Spring Garden Girl alumni gathering, our first semifinal area tournament game. So. They had reached out, some of the former players had reached out and got a lot of our former players to come back. We had a great show and went up to the cafeteria after the game, and first time the group's been together like that. So, and I went back to my first 2 years that I coached in my first group, and I told them, I said, I have told my wife, Dana, so many times that I need to get y'all back together just to say I'm sorry because of how detailed and how hard those first 2 years were. And we had 4-hour practices every day for 2 years. And the first 2 hours would be skill development, things like you just talked about, the small things. You got to win the small battles. Man, we had to teach them how to tie their shoes, how to put their socks on, how to put their jersey in. I mean, it was everything, Bo. It was from the ground up. But 2 hours every day just on skill development. Then we would spend 2 hours on game situations and preparing for games. But there was 4-hour practice. So I still, to this day, the 87 team that won a state championship that I did not coach, I think that's the foundation that we're still winning state championships on. But personally, myself, those first 2 teams I coached, the foundation that they give me, that forced me to pay attention to small detail, is still there today.
On this current run of girls.
Still there today, the small things. We just don't have to spend as much time on it. But I 100% agree. Detail.
Yeah, he talked about just, you have to, you kind of do have to reinvent the wheel, and you have to be in better shape, and you got to play defense like your hair's on fire every night, and things like that. And he went on this whole stretch about it, way more in detail. We don't have time for it today, but I wanted your take on that. Let's talk about Dana and Janet, the 87 team that won the title. How important was that in your early days to know, hey, I don't want any excuses because it was done in these same halls, in this same school here, in this gym. It can be done right here. We don't have to go out. It can be done right here. How important was that, what they did in 87?
Yeah, they set the tone for me. I mean, I'm not taking no credit for their 87 state championship. I was just out of college. I had got out of JUCO in 86 and played basketball there. And so Coach Bedwell, their coach at that time, needed a group of guys to scrimmage against. Their second 5 girls couldn't give them the competition they needed. So he reached out to me, even though I was dating Dana at the time. He reached out to me to come in and scrimmage them, and that's what got my attention with girls basketball was my scrimmage days with them.
When you watch them go.
Yeah, and how they played, and then when Dana and Jana got in college, and how they would reach back out to me, we've got to do this, we got to do that, help us get ready. So during the summertime, I would develop them workouts and shooting practices and their conditioning program, and to see how they responded to that and how they improved to that lit me on fire and said, hey, I want to coach girls basketball. This is fun. It's pure. You're not battling, the way a superstar NBA guy does it. You just ask them to do it. And I thought, well, we got these kind of girls that walk the halls of these schools every day. If those two were special. No doubt, those two were special type people, special type players. But there was other girls on that team that I knew walked the halls of this school every day. And I thought, when you look up and you get a Latricia Abernathy, a Mikey Garner, a Paige Anderson, a Neely Welch, a Ace, you get somebody that can surround those other girls with. I always thought, well, we've got a chance. We've always got a chance. And that's where it started with me. And I do think that 87 team kind of did it all first, way I look at it.
The girls' game itself, in my opinion, and I'm much like you, I'm not taking credit for it, but I think we've done a good job at Average Joe's shedding light on these girls. It's been a beacon of light for us because we found out when you share, the more you share, the more people like it. And it's just been special for us to watch the girls' game grow in front of us. And we're not doing nothing special. We're just treating them like we treat the guys. And it's good, beneficial for us. It's beneficial for them. But the girls' game in general has grown to, like, there's household names, obviously, like with Bell, with Ace. There's girls all across the state like that now. It's unbelievable to see it happen. What is your opinion on that?
Oh, I think the best thing that ever happened to high school girls basketball in the entire state of Alabama was when they combined the state tournament in Birmingham and put it to a Final Four format. And the Birmingham Tip-Off Club and the AHSAA had a lot to do with that, but that really helped girls basketball get attention and grow. I've always thought North Alabama basketball was unbelievably strong. There's good teams in the South and there's good players in the South, but the North has, we've had a really good run at this. But since you guys have got on board and the way y'all have done things and the way we've had some local trainers really buy into some girl programs and helping develop girls in the North Alabama part, there's a lot of colleges coming knocking in North Alabama right now, and I think it's you always hear that saying, it takes a whole community to raise a village, and that's kind of the way that's happened with girls basketball right now.
It's been incredible.
Yeah.
You see what your run here, and Coach Ellison's run there, and obviously you go no further than Tim Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just talking about in North Alabama right here, and there's some that I'm leaving out, but I'm saying this is not something you back into. These are like dynasty type runs, and it's been unbelievable to watch. And the girls that's went on to college from these and changed their whole entire lives, it's been phenomenal. How do you see it in the future? Because I don't even think this thing's not in its infancy yet, as far as even coverage and getting eyeballs and getting girls recruited. I think this is a pipeline that's going to continue to flourish in this part of the state.
I agree, and I think everything in high school is a trickle down from things above, and high school girls basketball I think is suffering a little, and I'm a volleyball coach, but suffering from the the growth in volleyball, and they a little bit of overlap there between club and basketball, so you're battling. You're battling with that situation some, and I think basketball was starting to get maybe a little stale.
Yeah.
But right now the college girls basketball game, with what LSU, Caitlin Clark, South Carolina, what they're doing on a national level, I think is really starting to light the fire back up under high school girls basketball again. And I'm a basketball fan in general, but I'm a really big fan of girl basketball. Just always have been. It's just who I am. But I see and I feel that, and I think it's starting to get more attention, and I think it's just trickling down. And then what you guys do, the exposure that you guys do, it's just bringing more interest and attention to the sport that's in a situation where I still think there's a lot of growth there to take place.
If you would have told me I just say 4 years ago, when we first got going really good, that we'd make girls posts, and some of them would reach hundreds of thousands. I would have been like, you've lost your mind.
Absolutely.
Well, we made a post about you and Ace earlier this year and your grandbaby, and it reached 3.9 million people. There's only 5.7 million people live in the state of Alabama. When you hear stuff like that, what goes through your head? Like, I don't even know what to say, and I own Average Joes.
Hey, I really speechless. I can't even. I'm not a technology guy. And I'm trying to think. Well, how does that keep multiplying into people? And it's just, it's humbling. Gives you chills to think
it's
about.
crazy.
And I can't figure it out. I just can't. I can't put it in my mind how that happens.
When something takes hold and it's just it just blows up, it goes in this other algorithm, and then that goes into an algorithm, and the next thing you know, I mean, there's only 5.6 million people, man, women, and child. These are just Facebook people, impressions at 3.9, so like 4 million people seen that. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, just to think, if you would have told me it would have reached 100,000 just a few years ago, I'd been like, it's cool. But one last thing, you done it. You went and played college ball. You come back and you gave back to the girls here at the place. Your wife done it. She went and played college basketball, went and coached college basketball, and come back here. She's done. You see someone like Courtney Strain, who was state's all-time leading scorer, go play college basketball, comes back, pours into the girl. Talk about that, because if you got to have that, you got to, even though you get out and you get successful at what you're doing, you turn right back around and pour right back into the same thing that helped be a part of your life to get you successful in the first place.
Yeah.
How important is that?
Just speaking from, Dana and myself, and I don't know that we really approached it to, try to put ourselves in a situation to give back. I think it's just the doors that's open.
Gotcha.
It's who we are.
Gotcha.
And I think most people that play college basketball that get into coaching, I think 90% or more, that's just who they are.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of Dana and myself. It's just who we are. I don't wake up every day thinking, what can I do to give back? I don't think of that. To me, it's just, if I'm giving something back right now, it's just part of the process that's going on.
Gotcha.
And I do think there's a time to where I will sit down and think, how can I give back more than I'm giving?
Gotcha.
But right now, I feel like with what we're doing and how we do it, I'm not saying that I'm doing enough. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's who we are, and it seems to be working.
Yeah.
And I don't want to outstep that. But when my days of coaching are over with, and maybe somebody's wanting me to come and work a camp or go help. We always getting phone calls wanting me to bring Ace to do a workout, or wanting me to come and work their granddaughter, whatever. Just don't have time to do that. We're so busy with everything that's going on now. That's the part that I think one day I can give back more
Gotcha.
than than what I'm giving right now.
Gotcha. Well, you've done a fantastic job giving back to this community, absolutely, and these girls, and helped get a lot of them over into college, and helped a lot of them be state champions they'll remember forever, and Dana as well. So you've been doing a good job on that front. So
I appreciate it, but just kind of lucky to be standing in these shoes.
You can't pour that secret sauce out to everybody. You don't want them to take it and run with it. So, but yeah, you do a fantastic job, Coach. But look, we're going to shut this episode down. You got some work to do, and I know we got some more work to do. But Coach, God willing, we'll be back here next week, and we'll do another edition of Keeping Up with Spring Garden Athletics. Thank you.